Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Ross Sr. And this podcast was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. Listen, I like to take the time out to say hello to everybody out there. So I want to make sure I give a shout out to all of those that are listening right here in North Carolina. Stand up from my hometown, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to Trey Foe. So glad that you guys have tuned in and listened right here in Greensboro, North Carolina, the Gate City. Shout out to those over in Raleigh-Durham area, the Bull Town, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. You know I didn't forget about you. Shout out to all of those in VA. Before I go to VA, shout out to Boardman. Man, much love to y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We really do appreciate it. Shout out to the folks over there in Los Angeles on the West Coast for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Texas, Chicago, Chi-Town, and Detroit. Y'all know y'all got us jetting over here in Carolina. We appreciate you guys for listening in Canada. Thank you guys for listening over in Brussels, Belgium, especially to our French-speaking folks and the Flemish and Dutch-speaking folks over there. Bonjour and hello. Thank you guys for listening. Over in Russia, we want to make sure that you guys continue to pray for that situation over in Russia and Ukraine, and that situation will be rectified. Brittany Griner, go ahead and close the deal. We talk about it all the time on this show. Brittany Griner, say her name and bring her home. Brittany Griner, we love you over here at the Ross Cloud Podcast. Shout out to Malaysia and India, to our Africa, over in Senegal. Thank you guys for listening. And all over, thank you guys. Boston, New York, Brooklyn, stand up. Thank you guys for tuning in. ATL, Stone Mountain. Man, the list goes on and on. Hey, Jacksonville, thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening down there. Can't forget about Maryland, D.C. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Listen, we have a very special guest in the building. We have the one and only producer, actor, Mike Anderson in the building.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. It's definitely a beautiful opportunity.
Thank you, man. Thank you again for gracing us with your presence here on the Ross Cloud Podcast. We really do appreciate it. You know, man, this is something that we've been trying to do for the longest. I know I have. And once you gave us a shout out, I said, there's my opportunity. I'm finna seize it right now. Yeah. Although the direct connect was through John Black.
Oh, yeah.
Who we just had on our show. And,
John Black, wonderful person.
Yes, man. Wonderful person. Talented individual. Great actor, too.
Very.
So, listen, we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. We're not going to hold the folks up any longer. So, Mike, let's talk about, what do you do?
Well, actually,
I said it in the introduction.
Yeah. I was getting ready to say, to reiterate on what you opened up with in the introduction, I'm a motion picture film producer as well as a actor, TV and film. Yeah. Been on several TV shows on TV One, been in some films, some real dope films with some heavy hitters that I've enjoyed working with.
I love it.
August the 12th, my first major lead role in a first major motion picture comes out entitled Shark Waters. All right. I play a captain of a fishing boat in this, and named Captain Banning. So I'm so excited about this because it's supposed to be a huge rollout. Yeah. And outside of that, though, I'm also a national spokesperson for mass incarceration and juvenile incarceration. Been on several speaking circuits. Sure. One of the main ones that I remember was with the Black Congressional Caucus, My Brother's Keeper Speakers Bureau, that was headed up by Barack Obama. Yes. I used to speak on, things dealing with juvenile incarceration, the Cut 50 program that they had with Van Jones and Newt Gingrich.
Sure.
And outside of all that, I'm just a person trying to go get it and make up for lost time when I made some of the wrong choices when I was a teenager.
So how did you get your start with that, the national speaking part? How did you get your start with that one?
Well, I started being interviewed for my life story on several platforms, and so people started seeking me out in reference to pulling me in to speak for these topics because of, again, my past life.
Sure.
And it's something that, I speak from experience.
Yeah.
Nothing made up, nothing, that I've researched or studied. I've lived it.
That's right.
And so I decided to just turn my life over to helping the at-risk youth, those that are at risk of becoming incarcerated, those that are already encountered adjudication, adjudicated youth. I started my nonprofit, and it's called Polished Shows Foundation Incorporated.
I love it.
Based right here in North Carolina.
Yes,
I love calling North Carolina home.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
and
sir.
just pretty much started venturing out and being sought after, like I said, when people started seeing my interviews, and started out in churches, and then went from churches to different forums and platforms. Saw myself on different panels with celebrities and realized that, hey, this is where I want to be. This is where I need to be in reference to opening up the ears and the hearts of our youth that feel like they need to go down this road.
Come on.
I always tell them, I can be just like Christ. I went in for 17 years just so you don't have to. I took the sting out of incarceration. Why don't you listen to this story I got to tell you? But at the same time, going after all my objectives and goals that I wanted to live out and accomplish, which is what I did. I combined them and never had a problem. Stayed busy, and
I love it. I love it. Let's this gives me a segue to continue to talk about the service part. How important is service to our community?
Service is very important to our community because a lot of people don't realize that we were actually born to serve. And we were born to lead, but serve at the same time that we're leading, and to turn followers into leaders, because we was those followers that turned into leaders ourselves. And service in the community, it holds fast to the concept of it takes a village. If it takes a village, then, you got to be willing to serve and make that village exist. You got to create that village, not just for ourselves, but for those that are going to be the future, which is our youth.
Sure.
And even my fellow man,
Yeah.
My fellow brothers and my fellow sisters, I try to serve through that component as well, through my nonprofit, for those that are transitioning back home out of the prison system, because everybody needs that helping hand. Everybody needs that shoulder to lean on, and that brother or that friend or that sister to count on to be able to say, look, I'm struggling. I just came from one world to a whole different world that I left. That's not the same when I left.
Sure.
So serving, period, to me, in whatever capacity I can serve, is very important. It's very important in our community, because without service, we can't build.
Yeah.
We can't build.
That's so true. And it led you right into what you're doing now.
Yes.
So with you serving, that's how you pretty much got your start with, was the acting first or the producing?
With acting and all that, because I had the acting bug.
Okay.
As I was serving, of course, I said it put me on different panels.
Yes, you did.
With different celebrities that were doing the things already that I wanted to do.
I love it.
So for me to be able to realize, okay, now I'm in this environment, and I'm around these people that are doing that, I want the other thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
I said, now it's time to network.
That's it.
So I can increase my net worth.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Just, as an Aquarius alpha male, I have the opportunity to be able to voice my opinion on a lot of things in a creative way and demonstrate it through creativity. Because I was originally when I and this is going to be told later on in this interview, but when I originally first came home from prison, I used a gift of spoken word poetry and was just traveling throughout all the circuits. And it was like, oh, hold on, who's this? You just came home and you spitting like that? And I'm just like, well, I saw it on Def Poetry Jam.
Come on, talk about it. Yes.
And I saw it was something that I knew I can do, because I'm a former rapper, you know what I'm saying? Grew up in the 80s as a rap artist.
Yes, sir.
So was inside rapping, had my own talent show group that we used to do called Rugged Elements. We won 5 years in a row. Nobody could beat us. We called it the Prison Grammy. You know what I'm saying? All of this inside of me. And, you know, we as Aquariuses, we're very, very creative people that we love the freedom of creativity and what it does for us. It takes us to a whole nother level. So while I'm on these panels and I'm around it, I'm like, you know, I'm interested in acting. So I met somebody one time at an event that was for some youth out of Los Angeles. And he said, you should come on over to my studio and check out what we're doing over there. I said, oh, really? He was like, yeah, you know, and first person that I saw when I'm walking in, coming out, smiling is Tina Knowles.
That's a good person to see, right?
And didn't realize it was now Tina Knowles Lawson, and she's married to the man that told me to come over there, Richard Lawson. So I started taking a few acting lessons here and there with Richard Lawson out there in L.A., you know, and
it was supposed to happen.
Oh, man, and that amazing guy, you know, and met one of the most important people that I did a few scene study situations with, who now plays on Power. Shout out to Shane Johnson, my boy who plays Cooper Sax on Power. You know what I'm saying?
Talk that talk. I love it.
And just said, man, I'm going to do this.
Right on, man.
I'm going to do this. And just got involved with some projects on HBO, Vice Principals. I did some background acting. And then I said, well, you know, I don't mind the background.
Sure.
But there's something in me, man. I got to get that forefront. I got to get that forefront, man. So I started going hard and just signed up with an agency. Then also pretty much got on Actors Access, which, you know, what I encourage a lot of upcoming actors and actresses to do. Go to Actors Access. Because you can almost become your own agent at some point. It's good to have representation. Because the industry is a little bit more different than people can ever imagine. And it's not glitz and glamour the way you think it is behind the scenes. It's a lot of hard work. You don't become rich overnight or whatever.
Not at all. Not at all.
But while I was also working on the youth panels, I encountered a youth panel with Christopher Martin, who's Play from Kid and Play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So he was like recognizing my story, and he was like, yo, I need you over at what I'm doing. Right, you know, it was called Brand News.
I love it.
And then started working with him, and then one day he just snatched me up. He's like, I'm going to your hometown to speak at Fayetteville State. I was like, oh, for real? He was like, yeah, here, take this camera. I was like, hold on. He
was setting you up, man.
Yeah, he set me up and didn't realize it. And then I said, well, hold on right quick. I said, can you drive? He was like, why? I said, because I can't drive and look at YouTube at the same time to figure out what type of shots I'm going to get with this camera.
Talk, man. Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So we got there. I started fumbling with the camera, and I remember that I always wanted that camera back in my hand because something happened in my youth when I was out in those streets.
Let's talk about that before we go any further. We know that adversity is sometimes necessary to get us to our truth. So I'm glad that adverse moment that you had in your life, look at where you at. Look at what you're doing now.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about the adversity, because this platform is created to motivate and to inspire. So let's talk about what happened without divulging of too much information.
Oh, man, I'm an open book.
I love it.
I'm so much of an open book that I wrote the book and published it.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Talk it, man.
So
if you would, kind of tell the folks about your story. As it pertains to being incarcerated, and what led to the incarceration, if you don't mind.
It all started really growing up in my household in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Vietnam.
Yes, sir.
2-6, stand up.
Yes,
so,
sir.
growing up in a household where my father was a former Korean, he's a Korean war vet as well as a Vietnam war vet that did 2 tours in Vietnam, 1 tour in Korea. And African-American soldiers, so of course, they went through hell over there.
Yes,
it was being spat on and everything by lieutenants and commanders and all that. And he came home PTSD diagnosed, but never treated. Never was, went through therapy or nothing, and ended up moving into a neighborhood that was focused on African-American Vietnam vets. So mind you, when you're coming home from such a war,
Yeah.
and you're PTSD diagnosed, you're probably not the only one if you're moving into this neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So now what you have is a bunch of drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and in my household there was domestic violence almost on a daily basis.
Yes, sir.
I used to watch my mom get her butt whooped by my father. And if anybody knows anything about Fayetteville, it's right next to Fort Bragg.
Yes, it is.
Fort Bragg has these simulated bombing exercises that goes off almost 2 or 3 times a week, and I stayed not too far from the reservoir where they did it. I stayed on Bunce Road, which everybody, woo,
Yes, sir.
Bunce Road was crazy,
It's a problem.
And it was because of that.
Yes.
And so growing up in that household, it was like war every day.
Gotcha.
When that simulate bombing happened, my father jumped into soldier mode and thought he was back in Vietnam. And he would just think my mom was the enemy and choke her up and grab her and pull out guns on us, held us at gunpoint one time. I had to spend a whole summer in a domestic violence shelter. So all of that was making me bitter as a child.
Sure.
And then finally, when my mom decided to go ahead and be smart and say, you know what, I want out of this marriage because all I'm doing is being hurt. You know, and my mom, she had no family in the United States because she was originally from Germany. She's German.
Okay.
So I grew up in an interracial, household.
Yes.
And which was something common back in that day. Sure. You know, everybody came home with somebody from another country.
Did your mom make good schnitzel?
Oh, my God.
Oh,
man, why did you do that to me, man?
I was in the military.
That schnitzel, man. Look.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry to jump off, but I thought about that schnitzel.
Roladin. Earlier, as I heard you doing your introductions and you said hello, I was like, oh, he has a little, he has a little bit of knowledge of that Dutch language,
Yes, sir.
But that schnitzel, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Every time I get an opportunity, I go, but I pretty much stopped eating all that stuff. But back in the day when I used to kill it. But anyway, I digress. Okay, I had to breathe on that.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? But no, man, yeah. So growing up in that household, once they got divorced, my mom was working at Cape Fear Valley Hospital in Fayetteville, and she was only making $3.65 an hour. So, how do you take care of a household full of boys?
Okay.
I grew up with 3 other brothers, and my older brothers, they turned to the streets and they became drug addicts, and I began wondering, okay, how do we make this work? Because I didn't want my little brother to go through what I went through in life. I was getting all the hand-me-downs from my brother. And I said, you know what? I'm in middle school now. I need to look a little fly.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I'm starting to feel myself. You know what I'm saying? Everybody calling me, I'll be sure, and all this other stuff. So I got to look like these cats. You know what I'm saying? I got to make sure everything right. So I got to have money to do that.
Right.
So you go into the streets, you start messing with the petty drug selling, the weed first, and then you transition to other things. And then, of course, being in Fayetteville, soldiers coming back with guns and all this other stuff comes to the streets. I started selling guns. So one thing led to another.
Easy access.
In my teens, and before you know it, by age 19, I ended up in the Cumberland County Jail facing the death penalty, plus life, plus 60 years.
Wow.
I stayed in jail like almost 3 years waiting for trial till they finally came at me and said, look, if you don't take this plea bargain for this life sentence,
how'd it go?
You're going to get executed. Because you got 2 murder charges. You got one that happened in 1990. No matter if I didn't do it, I sold the gun that was involved with it. Then the next one was more so self-defense that happened while I was out on bond for murder.
Understood. I got you.
I was out on bond for the first murder charge, and the second one happened. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, yo, you just made us look horrible politically. Mm-hmm. So they stopped giving out bonds because of me. And so they said, look, we'll take you to trial. Yeah. We'll tell the jury that you was out on bond for a murder charge.
Yeah.
By taking you to the trial for the second one first.
Yeah.
And we'll get you.
Right.
We'll put you in that chair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't risk this.
Yes, sir.
And then, I had a friend that was on the case with me, and he was facing some stuff. And then my other friend was trying to go into the Marines, that they tried to charge him only because they were out there. And I said, you know what? I said, give me the plea bargain. Drop their charges.
Yeah.
Give me the plea bargain. I'm not going to tell you who did the first one because I'm not a snitch.
Right.
Strap it on my back. Let me go in and go with God.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I'm going to get through this.
Absolutely.
Went in. That's when I really started finding out who I really was. Talent-wise, they made me take this test, IQ test. I was told I ranked in the top percentile of the IQ test.
Yeah.
Did a few more tests on me psychologically, and it was like, we don't understand why you're here. I'm just like, well, if I met my first counselor. Her name was Jocelyn King. I'll never forget her. I said, but yo, I had a rough life. And she said, look, we're not gonna do that pity party stuff.
She's like, let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah.
And you're the only one that can change this.
That's right. That's good stuff.
Yeah. When I first got to prison, they threw me in the hole, and I was like, "What? I didn't do that, and I just got here. What's going on?" And they was just like, "Well, one of your victims is on the yard. He's locked up now, and we got to put you in the hole." And I was like, "Oh man!" So they put me in the hole, and I had to find my sanity some kind of way. So I started looking in the corner, and I noticed there were some ants and roaches over there. So I was like, "Man, they got me in a filthy place." It was hot. It was August. I was burning up. It was no AC back there, nothing. And I was like, I'm going to need you, God, to help me make it through this. Give me an idea. He said, well, you remember you used to be a rapper, right? This is him talking to me.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? You know how you talk, your OG. That's your OG. That's my OG. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
so.
Man, talk that talk.
Yeah, I was talking to him. I was like, yo, what you got for me? He said, bruh, you's a rapper.
Yeah.
But I need you to be a little bit more positive now.
Yeah.
Turn this thing into poetry.
Yeah.
So I looked up and I saw the roaches and the ants. I said, well, how do I get rid of this? Because I don't like stuff like this. He's like, look, breakfast coming in the morning, grab the jelly, put the jelly in the corner, and they won't mess with you.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the jelly off the breakfast tray.
Yeah.
Put the jelly in the corner.
Yeah.
They over there, they stayed over. They never came near my bed or nothing.
Gotcha.
Started writing short poems on each brick. For every day that I was in that hole, I would choose a brick and write a poem because I said, yo, all right, I know what I want to do. I want to inspire people not to give up and then go crazy or go insane.
Yeah.
So maybe I could write some stuff that when somebody else comes into the same cell block and they read it, guess what? They're going to be inspired. Because that meeting with Jocelyn King inspired me so much because I could not understand why this woman was believing in me in the moment. And I had a life sentence. I felt like I was never going home again.
Yeah.
But she told me, she said, oh, you're going to get out. And what's ironic is I captured that moment and reflected it well in a project I did. I had to.
Yeah.
And Jocelyn King was played by Shar Jackson from Moesha.
Yes.
And, Good Burger and all of that. But she killed it. And she made me, when I was filming it, she made me relive that moment and realize why I really made it. Yeah. A queen mother poured into me and pretended that the life sentence didn't mean anything in that moment and gave me a vision to go after, regardless of how long I was going to be in there, that I was going to come home one day. So I focused on that fact. Yeah. And as I went through my whole 17 and a half years of incarceration, I got 2 college degrees, one in business management, the other one in computer systems, information technology.
Yes, sir.
And realized after those 2 college degrees, got 9 different vocational trades. Yeah. Because I'm a hell of a handyman at the house. I ain't got to call nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself because I learned it all while I was in there and then started writing books, writing poetry books, started writing plays for the inmates on the inside. We would perform them.
Yeah.
And had my own rap group, like I said, Rugged Elements, getting the prison Grammy every year, and nobody could touch us because I was so lost in my creativity.
Yes.
I would do the video right there in front of the inmates when we did a song. Yeah. I made costumes out of trash bags. We had basketball jerseys. We had it all. We had jewelry made out of Newport cigarette wrappers and all of that. And I brought the world into that world. I brought the macrocosm into the microcosm because God told me this is who you are. You're a creative person. I made you a creative being. I created a creator. Yeah. And so that strength in of itself is what helped me make it through those 17 and a half years. Now, there's a story that when I was out on the block, this drug addict, and for some reason I don't like to use the word crackhead because it's very demeaning in a sense. Sure. Because my brothers were doing the same thing, but there was a drug addict that, came on the block with one of them old school VHS cameras that you put the big block tape in.
Yes, sir. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Before these beautiful digital cameras that are out now are, mirrorless cameras and everything. And so everybody was laughing, and I was like, nah, why am I attracted to this camera? And I said, yo, bro. I said, come over here. I said, what you want for it? And he told me what he wanted. I gave him what he wanted. And I got the camera. Yeah. So everybody that was laughing now, they want to be in front of my camera. I'm like, okay, hold on, let me see how to work this way. We shot a quick 5-minute fake karate movie, you know what I'm saying? With, everybody, moving their mouth and the words coming out later and all that other stuff. So I remember reliving that moment every time that I was in prison.
Yes.
And then when Play put that camera in my hand, I don't think I so much as like hiccuped. I think I was surprised that a camera fell back in my hand, and that's what I had been thinking about.
Yeah. Yesterday, me and Wu, we had a conversation on purpose. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we were just saying, Mike, as you was talking, man, I was getting full. In the church, they call it the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. So many different names.
Amen. So many different names, right? So in that moment that you were talking about it, it came back to me again, and I was telling Wu as we were talking yesterday on purpose, this is exactly what we was talking about. You were having a divine experience in a human body, a terrestrial, if you would. You were literally out of this world. You were in the universe, from a literal sense. You were having an out-of-body experience while being a human.
Exactly.
And so it was just absolutely beautiful just to hear that story. Yeah. And I think people don't understand, number one, you were first of all, you were in some of the worst conditions in the world to actually be able to do that. So the power of the Creator and his ability to be able to spark that in your mind. In the word, in the Bible, it says we're made in his likeness, in his image. And if we take that in the literal sense and really walk it out that way, we'll see the greatness and the beauty of us as humans.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for sharing that story, man. It's a lot of meat in this, man, that people can take, a lot of soul food that people can take and eat off of this and continue to eat off of this. And as we transition, because, man, we could stay here all day long.
Exactly.
I love this kind of language. I love this kind of talk. But let's switch gears and let's go into the production mode.
Definitely.
So you've done the acting. You still do it.
Yes.
And the thing that I love, everything that you said, your gift was manifestation.
Exactly.
Literally, you were in it.
Yeah.
You were already doing it before you started doing it.
Exactly.
And that's a beautiful place to be in. So the producing piece, the fact that he put it in your hand, that set you up to not only film, but be on the production end of it too.
Exactly.
So let's switch gears. What do you look for in a script from the production side? What do you look for in a script? I may be jumping ahead.
No. That's beautiful because you could take that back to the essence.
Yes, yeah.
What I look for in a script is the reality of what I've lived through other people's lives vicariously as well as mine.
I love it.
And
art imitates life.
And if I can see it while I'm reading it, because I visualized it before or I encountered the actual image of it, then I'm like, well, I can recapture this.
Right on.
Yeah. Because once you take a picture with your photo, you can download it, you can upload it, you can do so many different things. It goes to your Google Drive. It can do this or do what. You can take that image and reprocess it every single time.
Yes, sir.
You can restore it or do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
A video, picture, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What I love about that is that if we do the same thing with our minds, there's no limitation to what you can do with that script. So if your script provokes me to think that way, then that's what I look for, that element. But if I'm reading your script and it doesn't have that foundation, I'm like, yo, you might need to work on that a little bit more. Because I've been told the same thing.
Sure.
I'm not perfect with a script.
No, I got you.
But I know how to look at the script now and break it down, not just with the image of it, the vision of it, but the shots that I'm going to take. I've been around so many actors, local and abroad.
Yeah.
I know who's the right person to deliver this part of the dialogue. So
Right
I'm
on.
already thinking, I can get John Black for this.
Yes, sir.
I can get, whoever for this or whatever. I can go get Oba Babatunde. I can get Hawthorne James.
Yes, sir.
And because I know these people.
Absolutely.
And I networked for a reason so I can have a relationship and be able to fulfill this script if it's put in front of my face and become the producer.
I love that. I want to keen in on that relationship. Talk about relationships.
I always make sure, like on the inside, you had one of the things that got you through on the inside was relationships, and it was how you dealt with people, how you handled people, and how you greeted people, even in the morning, where I was around people that never knew that they were going home or not. How do you make that person feel better about his day in the worst situation, the worst scenario?
Yeah.
Well, what you do is you share your personality. You share the enlightenment that might have been given to you either in your sleep or while you were awake.
Right on.
You share good moments.
Yeah.
And try not to focus on the bad moments.
That's right.
You share a laugh. One of the things I used to do when I used to wake up on my bunk, first thing in the morning, I could feel the energy of everybody like, damn, another day in prison. What I would do is say, all right, well, let's make it another good day in prison. Yeah. And I'll start cracking jokes. I would imitate people. I was good at imitating people. I'd be like, yo, who this, y'all? Who this, y'all? Yeah, countdown. Man, this Officer Cook, man, you crazy as hell, man. You crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it'll just be like one of those days where, now everybody ready to face the day.
Yes.
And people told me that, man. They told me, yo, bro, I appreciated you so much on the inside because, you got me through days. And I'm just like, yo, I appreciated y'all for even allowing me to entertain y'all and realize that I was operating in my gift and getting ready for the world.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying?
You knew who you were.
Yeah. So, and it goes back to that, man. When you are given that script, I want to be able to say, if I haven't relived it, if I haven't lived it, I'm going to go find somebody that has and research it through them.
Sure.
And live it vicariously so I can bring it back to this camera.
Right on.
And put it on an edit board and chop it up and make it look right and sound right.
I love it, man. I absolutely love that. And speaking of relationships, so how do you, as we talked about relationships, how do you select your director?
Well,
and what do you look for?
I'm kind of
the director.
Okay, so I'm not sure if a lot of people are familiar with the dynamics of an Aquarius, but we're control freaks. I haven't really selected too many directors.
I knew it was coming. I'm glad you vocalized it. Yes,
I haven't the only time I've been around other directors that weren't selected or whatever was when I was acting. But when I grab a film and it's my project, it's my project.
It's your project. I don't need you to direct. I got that.
So I want to mention my biopic, which is my life story. It's on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
It's a polished soul, and it stars Oba Babatunde, Hawthorne James, Shaw Jackson, and Petrie Bird, who is also executive director of the film, as well as Oba Babatunde. So Petrie Bird is Bailiff Bird from Judge Judy.
Yes, sir.
I encountered him being on the panel.
Yeah.
I encountered Oba being on the panel and then just running into him and realizing who he was because I'm like a fan. That's a 50-year vet.
Come on.
A-lister.
What?
Who's to this day is on SWAT with Shamar Moore and all that. You know what I'm saying? So he became my mentor.
Yeah.
So he started mentoring me even more so on relationships.
Okay.
Every time I was in L.A., we go out to eat somewhere. We go to Beverly Hills to this dope spot, listen to jazz music or watch people perform. Yeah. I started letting people live outside of their work world. So in other words, let's go out and have a drink. The hell with Hollywood right now. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Let's live in your personal life, in your personal space, so you can be comfortable and not be treated, by a fan, but by a friend. I'd rather be a friend than a fan.
Be a friend.
Yeah. So when I'm on a project, I already know my relationships will allow me to be the director. It will allow me to be the producer. It will allow me to do this because now I'm just like, okay, later on now, let's talk business.
Sure.
I'm going to pull you in for this master class. Everybody knows who you are. They're willing to be under your tutelage.
Absolutely.
Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. I see bigger things in this relationship, because my thing is if I empower you and you empower me, we're empowering each other and we can empower the next person over here and over here and over here. And guess what? All this empowering going on, we ain't up but people to the umpteenth power now.
Yes, sir.
You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
So
I do.
But as far as that director thing, I think one day I might.
But right now.
Yeah, for right now, I got to get my notches on my belt.
I appreciate the transparency.
Yeah, because I'm like, everybody else goes for self sometimes. If you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of nobody else.
That part, yes.
So if I can't create the foundation and say, hey, look, I've done this. Now, how can we form this relationship? And I might let you do this. Even if you still Steven Spielberg, I might let you do it.
Yeah.
But because by the end of the day, man,
you care about your art too.
And if there's a hiccup or a mess up, then it's my fault.
It's my fault. And you're okay with that.
It's my brand. Yeah. It's my fault. Let me go back and fix it or whatever, but I can't fix somebody else's mistakes when my name is on it.
Absolutely. So how do you do your checks and balances when it comes to managing your budget for the film?
I pretty much run everything out of my my one business account, Anderson Entertainment. I make sure that I'm up on my business game.
I love it.
I write off my expenses. I don't care if it's me getting a paperclip or me renting a vehicle if I'm somewhere, shooting a film or whatever.
Yes,
all of it goes in my business expenses. And if I make sure that hey, you got to be smart. You got to definitely report your losses, but don't keep reporting your losses, because then you put your gain in every so once in a while to make sure that your business stays afloat.
Yes.
And when I write things off, and a lot of people don't know this, and this is what I want to give. I want to give this one piece of nugget to actors and actresses.
I want you guys to know you guys are getting this for free, okay?
Yeah.
So please write this down.
Like Gillian Wallow, $1 million worth of game. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Philly boys.
Oh, absolutely.
But
yes, sir.
I'm just like, listen. You can go right off the SD cards you put in your camera to do your auditions. You can go right off the paper that you print to print out the sides for your audition. You can write everything off for auditions, everything when you're going to film. If you go eat lunch, before you go on set, you better say that receipt, write it off. If you are paying for any type of websites or services through IMDb, Actors Access, or membership fees, you better write it off.
Yeah.
You better write every single thing off that has the office space that might be your bedroom in the back of the apartment or the back of the house. You better write that square footage off. You better write off every single ribbon that you buy for your printer.
Yeah.
Write it off. Write off the equipment that you use.
Yes,
your
sir.
laptop.
Yes, sir.
The depreciation of it or whatever.
Everything.
I told you one of the degrees I got on the inside was business management.
Come on.
You cannot take a man, lock him up, and expect him to come home dumb all the time. You know what I'm saying? If you put me somewhere and tuck me away and incubate me in my matrix, I'm going to come back like I really came out of God's womb.
Yes, sir. I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Red or blue pill, neither one, because I want to see the reality of this business. Because if I know somebody else got rich off of it, I can get rich off of it.
I love it. That was our money moment right there, y'all, okay?
And it will get you money.
Yes, sir.
You just got to appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And it allows you to do other things. Like, I had lost funding for my nonprofit at one point from one of the biggest people that was funding me because I wouldn't turn my arts and education nonprofit into a sports team. So they asked me to turn it into a sports team. I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do you all the same way that I do casting directors, in the other business that I do.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to say no, because I don't like that role. And so the fact that I didn't like the role of becoming a coach, because we got too many sports teams out here already. We got too many athletes. I'm teaching these guys how to get behind cameras, how to write scripts, and not just be the entertainer. I want them to be the people that are possibly the engine behind the entertainer.
Sure.
It takes a person to learn a lens, what lens you put on when you take a different type of shot. That's a lot of education that I can teach somebody, and they can come out the hood and become a Ryan Coogler.
Man, talk that talk.
And become a Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Straight out of Oakland.
Yes.
So, and marvelous, fantastic director now.
Woo.
From Fruitville now to what? Wakanda Forever?
Yes,
That's about to come out?
Come on, man.
So, by the end of the day, those are the dreams that I want people to live out. I don't want you to worry about your kneecap getting blown out because you try to dunk or whatever. I love the sports. I'm a former athlete, trust me.
Yes.
But by the end of the day, there's more stuff out there, man.
Come on, man.
The writer, the producer, the sound guy, the script supervisor.
Man, we just had this conversation.
Come on, man. There's more jobs out there, and you're not telling our youth about them.
No. We're not.
Until they get into the industry and meet people like us.
Yes. This is free game.
Yeah, till they meet Maisha, till they meet James, till they meet Ross. You know what I'm saying? You're not until you get that.
Yes, sir.
You won't know it as a youth.
Yes, sir.
Unless you are put in that environment by your father or your mother because they're already in the industry.
They're already there. I love it, man. God almighty. Let me give you another hand clap. Yes, sir. This is what this is all about, y'all. Inspiration and motivational conversations to help you become a better you. Go ahead, Woo. Jump on in there, brother.
Yeah, I just want to ask him, can he elaborate his role in the upcoming National Black Theater Festival that's coming up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. First and foremost, shout out to Catherine Mobley, man, who has gotten me involved with that to so many different levels. It's actually how I met Bird, man. We was on this Man Talk panel, which is what I'm going to be on. And that's August 1st through August the 6th, this coming week, actually.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to James for being able to get this edited fast enough to promote it. That's work, y'all. That takes a lot of work. Yes, Trust me, man. You don't know what you're doing until you start doing it. But the National Black Theater Festival is something that actually occurs every 2 years. But of course, it was disturbed and interrupted by COVID. But now we're back. Yeah. We back outside, y'all.
Back outside, yes, sir.
So that's going on August the 1st to the 6th. No doubt. That is the first original component was theater, period. And what they do is a lot of plays that come from nationwide, that are theatrical versions and so on and so forth. But the thing about it is that now they've included the film component, so now they have the film fest with it. So my life story is going to be there. Awesome. That's one of the things one of the roles that I play. It's going to be a polished soul, of course.
Awesome.
The other role that I play is being on the Man Talk panel, and that's going to be me, Petrie Bird. Of course, I just mentioned him from Judge Judy, and Lamont Rucker from Greenleaf and Why Did I Get Married?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're on this celebrity panel, and I'm so honored that they're even calling me a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Seriously,
well, you are.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you are, man.
I just feel so local and personable and approachable all the time that I don't if I go on a red carpet, it's hard for me to pose sometimes because. Yeah. I might be thinking about something else, But anyway, and then the other component is that I'm going to be with Authors Alley. And from what I understand, James's wife is going to be there too. So that's, you encounter people for a reason.
Miss Woo.
Yeah, Miss Woo. Woo, 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 woo.
So, that's what he do too.
Yeah. So, I mean,
love it, fam.
And of course his daughter is performing there too, I hear. So, there's talent everywhere, man.
Everywhere.
And I know Maisha's coming so she can network. She can network, you know what I'm saying? And make sure that she realizes that she's about to be a Full Sail student and this is where it starts. And we're gonna get the Ross Cloud podcast up in there too, man.
Sir.
But look, so I'll be on Authors Alley also selling my book, which is A Polished Soul, which was the original version of my story. Okay. So I adapted that first into a documentary, a 15-minute documentary.
Yes, sir.
And then I took the 15 documentary and adapted it to the biopic, the full feature-length biopic.
Sure.
So I have a trilogy. My next goal is working on the one-man play that I'm getting ready to turn all this into a one-man play.
Yeah.
And I'm going to travel with that for about the next 2 years, but my whole role at National Black Theater Festival, man, is just to engage, and I'm doing a workshop too.
Okay.
Which is how to turn your book into a film. That's one of the workshops I'll be doing.
You'll be doing this at the National
Black Theater Festival. Yeah.
Oh,
so if you go on Google Play Store or Apple Store,
yes,
and look up National Black Theater Festival, type it all the way out and search for the app. You can download the app and get access to the schedule.
Gotcha.
So understand, people, that they have turned this into an app. So, National Black Theater Festival is on a huge level.
Yes.
And you have entertainers from all over coming in, people sharing their knowledge, their wisdom with you. Yes. A lot of this stuff is going to be free. You can go see some beautiful films for free.
Come on, y'all. Come on.
You see where it all starts and then where it ends, but then keeps going and begins and ends again. Yeah. It's a cycle. It's so cyclical in a sense that not just that, but you have all these beautiful African Americans together in one place sharing success stories, sharing beautiful art, sharing the creativity of who we are, man. You know, in the motherland, we created instruments and everything.
Come on now.
That's where instruments came from.
Sir. Yes,
our
sir.
soul is rhythmic.
Yes, it is.
Our spirits, our celestial bodies are all rhythmic.
We can't help it.
We can't, man. And you know, one of the starts that I got when I first came home from prison, I was the poet in residence for Chuck Davis and the African American Dance Ensemble for years. I was the only inmate in prison coming out on passes performing with that dance company. So that gave me the feel while I was still in prison, man.
Yes, sir.
I was already exposed to the public and telling people I'm coming home, because I was on this MAP program that they finally gave me. The parole board was like, we're going to put you in this program and we're going to gradually reintroduce you to society because we feel like you should go home. Because I stayed in the whole 17 and a half years with no write-ups or nothing. Wasn't no angel.
No.
Watch the movie.
I got you.
You'll see I wasn't no angel.
Got you, fam. I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
But my Aquarius mind kicked in and God put his hand on me and said, I'm not letting you get away. I got something for you to do. You know? So my assignment was well understood.
And you understood it.
Yes, I understood it.
Understood it. Yes,
understood it.
I love it. I love it.
You know,
man.
and you know, I'm so like, and going back to relationships, sometimes I'm so ambitious that it, believe it or not, it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah.
It hurts relationships, and you get around people and you're too ambitious, and it creates this jealousy level, and then that relationship ends, and then, but you have to, though.
Sometimes you have to.
I call it photo dumps. Like, or you know.
That's
footage,
a great name.
Yeah, footage dump.
Great name.
When you shoot a film, you got to dump the footage. And then when you dump that footage and you scrub everything, what do? You get rid of the worst shots.
That's all.
And it doesn't develop into your project.
No, it doesn't.
Because it will hurt your project. It will hurt your production.
Yes, sir.
And make it counter.
Woo, great analogy.
Productive.
Great analogy.
You see what I'm saying?
Great analogy.
Yeah. So and I have to use things like that to understand sometimes. Make it plain to me.
Make it plain.
Yes.
I was just telling somebody the other day, when I used to cook these big pot roasts or these big shoulders, we used to have to cut the cap off, the fat of the meat. Sometimes you got to cut the fat.
So man. You won't be saturated.
So you won't be saturated.
And you move a little leaner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know.
You're better for a diet.
You're better for it, right?
Yeah. No, I get it, man. Trust me, man. And you know, I you know, in this podcast, I definitely have to shout out Damian Moore, man, my brother from another mother. Shout
out to you, brother.
When I came home from prison, man, you know, that's the guy that I connected with. He fed me his vision, and that's why I learned where I love to take visions and run with them. Yeah, because he was dealing with Blue Mountain Catering. It was a little bit of a struggle. Then he gave me his vision. He said, "Yo, I got this idea for a chicken and waffle spot." I was like, I got you. I'm getting behind you. Let's do it,
bro. I had to lead him along, though.
Dave's Chicken and Waffles,
man, swear you up, but I swear it's so good.
Yeah, man. You know, there's a story behind where that food came from, but I ain't gonna go into that.
All right, then. We'll leave it right there.
No. Seriously, though, man. You know, because I was the one in the background. Man, let's start getting some more healthier options. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, let's do salads. How about salads? Let's do some salads.
Great menu over there.
I was man. The turkey barbecue was one of the things that I was addicted to when we first started.
Yes, sir.
And that left the menu for some reason. But if you've ever gone in there and you've seen the Mike's Poetic Pink Lemonade, that was my lemonade.
Come on.
That was my ghetto Kool-Aid.
Hey, that's some good lemonade, brother. I don't care what nobody say.
No, and then we started making pink mimosas with it and everything, man. We turned into look, one thing you cannot stop is when brothers get together, start capitalizing. Brothers and sisters come together and use the creativity and say, you know what? This is a business.
That's what we do.
This is a product. This is a brand.
That's what we do.
You know, like Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? Like Pepsi. But it's a brand. It's a brand. It's a household brand name. Right, and you just got to make sure.
That's right.
Because everybody, when they go to college now over here in Greensboro,
yes, sir,
don't nobody bypass Dames.
Nah.
They learn about it. Quick. At least with one meal.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't leave Greensboro without one meal.
Not at all.
Not
at all. You don't.
Durham as well. You know, that's what we started.
Yes,
that was the home of Dame's Chicken and Waffles.
Yes,
but you know, just again going back to relationships, man. When you do that photo dump and you move on in life, man,
sure,
you start becoming more fit, spiritually fit, physically fit, mentally fit.
Man, you sure you wasn't here with me and Woo yesterday?
Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I flew my drone over the building and I was at your window listening. You know, no, seriously, man. Like, and you know what that means? That great minds think alike. And when you become like, there's this thing about the atmosphere when you're about to do something together.
Yeah.
you'll travel celestially into the atmosphere. You'll link up and don't even know you're linking up, so that your encounter can either be, again, productive or counterproductive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, and when you link, you become productive and you become part of that chain. And that chain reaction becomes proactive.
Come on, man.
It's a pro action.
It is.
So you become an action with your as a pro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Become a pro at your action.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pro, short for professionally.
Yes, sir.
You have a tendency to grow into a professional person. And guess what? On the professional level that you live, nobody can dispute it.
Nobody can. I was telling me and my mom have these conversations when I knew I wanted to get into, I guess what you could call journalism, podcasting. My go-to person was Ed Bradley.
Oh, yes.
And so when I started really studying Ed Bradley, he was very personable, but he was real. He was genuine.
Yes.
And he was just a gem for Philadelphia, period. And then not only that, the boards he sat on in the jazz and come on, man.
And look.
And so I don't mean to get off, but as you were talking about it, I was like, because that's my guy. I love it.
And it's relatable.
It's relatable. I look at all of his old stuff.
Yeah.
And he never changed. He was always the same.
Man.
Always consistent.
I call it monotone, but the right tone.
Yeah.
If you can stay consistent.
Man, that
on the
part.
same tone and the same path, and still, elevate at the same time.
At the same time.
And still pick up a different audience at the same time, collectively, then it's nothing wrong about it.
There's nothing wrong about it.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Not
wrong
at all.
about it. What'd you say? You said it a few minutes ago about Google and YouTube.
Oh, GUNYTU, Google University. And I had a full-paid scholarship. Right there in my living room.
I love that, man. I love that,
full paid scholarship, Google University and YouTube University, man. And, I graduated with honors with a 4.9 GPA.
And I'm going to give you a hand clap for that one, too.
All the cum laudes and the magna cum laudes and all that other stuff, I mean, it was just, I had all my ribbons on when I walked across the stage in my living room.
Oh my God!
Thank everybody that came that wasn't there.
Oh man, I love it.
And I graduated,
man.
man.
That's beautiful, man.
And now God has blessed me to be an award-winning film producer.
Look at that, man. Ain't that beautiful,
big
man?
projects. Like I've been on big projects. Give Us This Day. That Vince Vaughn
was
the executive producer.
Yeah, that was good. Yes, sir.
I was the ground producer.
Okay.
Camera operator and so many other things. Wow. The Ferguson documentary had a partaking in that.
Yeah.
Just and
they can catch those projects on Amazon right now.
Some of them the Ferguson documentary actually is on. Now it's just freely floating on YouTube. If you look at Behind Enemy Territory or look at Ferguson, that's on YouTube now.
Okay.
Then Give Us This Day. We're getting ready to reset it on another platform because Audience Network was where it originally broadcasted, but it's Audience Network folded, and so now we're they're going to replace it, reset it on a different platform, and just so many different other projects that I was involved with, man, that I realized that I remember reading scripture and it said I will place you in great places with great men, and
I swear you was here with us yesterday. I promise you was here with us yesterday. Okay.
And just so y'all know, this is a recap on Wu and Rouse's conversation.
Crazy.
But but one of the things you said earlier was like we're made in His image and likeness, and if you take that and walk with it, is. But what I would like to add is to that to say that, ye are like gods. In Psalm 91, why did he say that? Why was that scripture even revealed?
Yes.
Because if you think about it, there was 200 or something attributes that was used for God in the original Hebrew concordance text, and as well as the Greek, because attributes exist in the moment.
Yeah,
it's like, what do I see now? Okay, I see the great God living Almighty.
Yeah.
Or what do I see now? Well, I see omnipotence. I see omniscience. I see all this. Those titles and those attributes are always nonstop and infinite.
Yeah.
So why can't we be nonstop and infinite?
That's right.
You know, in what we do.
That's right.
Ye are like gods.
Yeah.
Why can't we create?
Yeah.
Ye are like gods. Why can't we, you know what I'm saying, speak life and breathe life into people?
Come on.
Ye are like gods. You know, and that's, you know, I'm banging in your head until you get it understood that ye are like gods. You know what I'm saying? So by the end of the day, you know, there's no timetable.
Yeah.
Time is in absolute. You know, a day is like a 1,000 days, or
That's
1,000 days is like a day.
Yes, sir.
So I'm always also patient about what I do. What I am not going to put up with sometimes is when you feed me a whole dream and then get me into the situation because of my heart and my loyalty, and then the situation changes because, I forgot to tell you. No, what you did was you forgot to inform me of something that would have stopped me from making the craziest decision in the world because of my loyalty. So I can get angry still because God gets angry.
Absolutely.
But I will spare you the wrath and just, again, photo dump and walk away.
And that right there was the scripture and the word by the Reverend Mike Anderson. Can we give the Lord
Coming
a
from
hand
the book of
break?
Mikey. Chapter
Amen. 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 Hallelujah.
verse 26. Stay on and stand up.
So in closing, because we got to close, Mike, this has just been just an awesome conversation, man. And we got to
For this 3-part series now. For the 3-part series of Mike Anderson interview.
Listen, man, we have got to do a part 2, like on series with a whole panel though, because this was beautiful, just a absolutely beautiful moment. If you guys don't understand, whenever you get ready to do podcasting or journalism, you're really in the moment, and it's such a in the moment thing. Everything is off cuff. You may have a few things happening, but it is just such a divine moment that you're having with another human, and it is absolutely beautiful, and I love it because it's two black men having a conversation, and we need to see more of this.
Yeah,
the congratulating each other, the celebrating,
edifying,
lifting each other up.
Yeah.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
And this is just absolutely just amazing. I have totally enjoyed this. But before we close, I heard earlier as we were talking before the show, you were talking about your son. Is that okay if we talk about?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an
talk
actor
about
as well.
How important, and would you say he's your muse?
He is. He is.
Let's talk about it.
He gave me a purpose, just like one of the things that I've always realized is that there was a lot of things that I told myself I wouldn't do that my father did. But there's a lot of things that I would do that my father didn't do.
Yeah.
My son is that opportunity for me to do all of that and to engage in creating a life that's going to give life and speak life.
Yeah.
To kind of like help me realize that though I did take life at one time,
Sure.
that I can now give it.
Yeah.
And then I can now create another avenue for somebody else to do the same thing. But to figure out if he is really the apple that didn't fall far from the tree, and he is,
Yeah.
times 100.
Yes, sir.
And one thing that a lot of people always realized is they don't realize that my last name is Anderson, and I was destined to have a son in my life, even if it was in my last name.
Yeah.
And it was like a one and done. He's my only child. It was the first one. I said, okay, it's over with. That's all I wanted was a prince to become a king. And I just of course his mother is a great contributor too. I mean, she's an amazing person. But at the same time, one of the things that I think about.
Glad you said that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But one thing that I do look at is this, man. He's no longer my SON, he's my SUN. And he gives me life now. He sustains my life.
Yeah.
And he gives me another reason not to go into beast mode when somebody crosses that path. You feel what I'm saying?
I understand.
He is my reason that I will not make the choice of straightening things in a warrior way.
Absolutely.
And to walk away and use a deeper discernment if I encounter conflict, because I don't like conflict.
Right.
If I encounter the conflict, to deeply discern if this person is really serious or not, if they want to go there. And I am able to discern, nah, you ain't serious.
You ain't serious.
Because you ain't even moved fast enough in this conversation. So let me walk away, because now I can safely turn my back on you and not worry about nothing.
Not even worry.
Not even worry about it. Because once I turn my back, I know who's watching it, God.
God, that's it, man.
You might even try to shoot me in the back of my head, but I know he's going to stop that bullet.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not my time.
Yeah, it's not your time.
If it is, so be it.
So be it.
I always look at it like, until I stop living, I'm going to live.
That's right.
And
That's right.
my son has, sometimes I ain't going to lie, I want to hide in the hallway and steal on him. Still off on him, you know what I'm saying?
You're looking at yourself,
yeah,
I swear
gotta look at it that way. I gotta be like, yo, this is me. This is, why is this getting under my fingernails? And I know I was this type of dude at one time, you know what I'm saying? And just the fact that, he's a cancer. So those emotional little jokers, boy. And I tell him, I say, you a cancer, but I ain't gonna let you become a cancer.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be my cancer.
That's right.
You're going to be my blessing, my gift.
That's right, man.
And, till it's all said and done. But he's my only biological, but he's not my only son.
I understand.
There's a million of them little jokers out there that I try to talk to on a daily basis and get them to understand. I keep telling you. I love it. I went down into the depths of incarceration and took the sting out of it so you don't have to go through it. So when I tell you this story, listen, I'm not just telling you my story. I'm telling you how to avoid living my story.
Yes. Yes.
So, I had children before him.
I got you.
And I'm going to have children after him.
That's right.
Who God knows I might walk around the corner and see another child.
Yes.
That's my child.
Yes.
And just be like, look here, young man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you watch the movie A Polished Soul, like I said, which is on Amazon, you'll understand why. I think back to Nas.
Yes, sir.
I wish I can go and open all the cells of Attica and send them all back to Africa. Africa is a mind state.
It's a great bar.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Great bar. Africa is a mind state. It's the cradle of civilization. It was the beginning of all things.
Yeah.
And before it was Africa, before they gave it the Latin name, it was called a Kebulan, which meant the motherhood to all things. And we all know as black families, our mothers contribute more to us than anything. Because they're the ones where we get our middle passions.
Yes.
Through that womb and out of that womb.
Yes.
Where we were safe.
Yes.
Until we got evicted out of that apartment.
Until we got evicted. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah. When we got evicted, it was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
We was in a whole new world.
Yes, sir.
A cruel world.
So listen, in closing, if you would you repeat to the people how they can follow you, how they contact you?
Sure,
and the different projects that you have going on right now in closing.
Sure.
And if you would also in closing, if you could say something to encourage somebody or, inspire them in closing. You got the last word, bro.
Sure. So, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Mike Rae Anderson, MikeRae Anderson _ the movie maker. I might change that eventually because that's long. But
that's all good.
But, you can follow me on Instagram under that handle. I'm kind of like backed away from other sources, of social media like Facebook and all that. There's just so much going on.
Yeah.
And I think, by now, a lot of people have become used to and familiar with Instagram. It's a lot of projects. Like I said, the movie that's getting ready to come out, that I played the lead role in. That's a huge rollout, man. It'll be out August the 12th from what I was just told yesterday. Shark movie. I know we worked on it as a working title as Shark Waters, but I'm not quite sure if they changed it yet. They don't tell you everything till last minute in Hollywood.
I got you.
But shout out to The Asylum, which is a huge production company out of LA. They shot that. We shot it down in Tampa. We was on the water for like 8 days shooting that film.
I love it.
And then everything else was shot, off the water. But that's coming out. Then, of course, the NBTF, y'all. Don't forget, August the 1st through the 6th, National Black Theater Festival. I got a short film I'll be shooting starting at the end of August. It's called The Score. Then I got another film that I'm going to be casting for real soon in October. We have a working title on that, but I will, release that through social media as well as Actors Access. Again, actors and actresses, I encourage you to get on actorsaccess.com. That's your platform.
There it is.
And then also, man, what I wanted to say was, one of my sayings is, every diamond in the rough is a soul that deserves to get polished. Hence, giving birth to my moniker, A Polished Soul.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, a diamond, before it becomes a diamond, is one of the worst looking things in the world.
That's right.
In a piece of coal.
Yeah.
But it's not until certain levels of pressure are applied to this coal over a period of time, over a certain amount of years, that this beautiful gemstone that you see that cuts light and turns it into the full spectrum of Roy G. Biv, all colors, that this thing becomes the thing that we know as a diamond.
Yeah.
Whether VS, VVS, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever carat it may be, 1 carat, 20 carats.
Come on. Yeah.
It seems to be an attraction to all of mankind.
Yeah.
So before you become that diamond, when you're in the rough, you have to go through all forms of pressure. Societal pressure, financial pressures, adversity pressure. And it's not until all this pressure is applied to you that you can become that diamond. So remember, every diamond in the rough is a soul that deserves to be polished.
Listen, I hope you guys have learned something on today. Listen, make it a great day and keep being great. And this is the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Ross Sr. Peace.